Hi, my name is Emily Grandstaff-Rice, and I'm running to be the AIA 2023 President-elect. This past week, the AIA hosted the third of three webinars that they were hosting to get to know the candidates a little bit more and take some questions from the membership. At this webinar, in attendance were AIA Gulf States, AIA Illinois, New England, Pennsylvania, Texas Society of Architects, the Western Mountain region, and the International region. I was happy to take the questions. Many of them were similar to ones that I had received in the past. So in this video, I talk a little bit about what I meant by the stereotype of an architect and the two answers that I have for that. How to engage K through 12 students, and of course, how do we tackle this really big problem, which is urgent climate action and advancing racial, ethnic, and gender equity in the profession.
Emily?
Hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for being here. Can you expand on the idea of redefining the stereotype of architect to show people more the value of the profession?
Absolutely. So I said this in my speech, when I created the speech for Grassroots, and I thought about it a little further. So it's kind of twofold. One is it's important for us to think that as architects, we do more than just, and I hate using architect as a verb, but the architecting, right, of what it takes to do a building. We're also incredible advocates. We're writers. We are visual artists. We do a lot more. I personally do a lot of programming. So work that I do is sort of in change management. And sometimes I used to joke when I did home design, my job was like 60% psychology, 40% architect. It's important for us to recognize that we have a lot of skills, and those skills are applicable in many different markets. So just sort of thinking about that, so that expanded view of architecture, and we do more than that. The other thing that I think in my speech I was specifically speaking towards, I am a person who identifies as female, which is not the dominant visual identity of what an architect has been in our society. I'm also white, so I recognize that there are others who have other racial identities that have not been represented at the same amount in our culture, and that we need to almost actively work towards showing that architects come in many different diverse ways to this profession, that it's not just, you sort of ask someone, name an architect, chances are it's probably going to be a white male, because that's what historically we've been conditioned about. And I did a little searching and sort of thought, I don't know if as a child I could have named a female architect. I mean, and that's sort of like really disturbing to me. I don't know if I could have identified an architect of color other than I am Pei. So, that's personal work that I've had to kind of work through. I think we need to think about an expansive view of what architects are. As Marian Wright Edelman said, you can't be what you can't see. So how can we inspire the next generation unless we highlight those from diverse backgrounds? Thanks for the question. That's really great.
Yeah, well, was not my question. It was somebody far smarter than me. It seems like the task of climate change and equity is enormous and sort of overwhelming at the chapter level. What advice do you have for chapters, and how might your national presidency support the work of chapters in these areas?
That's fair. Two separate issues. Climate change, we're all in this. We all inhabit this world. We cannot deny that human impact has changed the way in which the ecosystem of our world operates. And we're going to need solutions on small scales and large scales. I'm going to tell you a real small story about my daughter. She wrote a letter to her senator recently. And I didn't realize that she was sort of internalizing these feelings, but she got really worked up about climate action being such a big thing. What was her role in it? I think it's the same answer that I'm going to give to you, which is each one of us through our small acts, working towards working just a little bit better, will compound and start to create positive change. So what can chapters do? Sometimes it's just having a conversation. Sometimes it's making sure that clients who are on a various spectrum of understanding what climate action is, decarbonization, how the infrastructure impacts that, how we can normalize in terms of design justice. Those are really important. Now, is it going to be big and splashy and on the cover of a magazine? No, but if you change someone's mind, just one person, then that you can build upon that. And I think it's the same with equity, diversity, inclusion, and sense of belonging. Sometimes it's as simple as just having a conversation or finding out and seeking people that are different than you.
Perhaps your daughter should run for office?
Oh, don't get her started. Yes, get her started, but no, she's eating lunch right now.
Good. What more can the AIA do to encourage K-12 students to become an architect?
Oh, yes. So I think K through 12, there's another question that I've heard asked. So I'm going to pivot a little bit and then get back to the K-12, which is, I think there's a lot of concern about aging members in the AIA. And the interesting thing is, if you look at the percentages of AIA membership, members that are 60 and older only make about 16% of the AIA, and half of those are emeritus. But if you look at members that are less than 40, that's 26% of AIA membership. And so when we think about sort of the future of the profession, but also the future of the AIA, it's absolutely critical that we engage those who are about to enter the profession and those who are in the prime of their careers. And so therefore, in order for us to think about the sustainability of the profession and increase diversity and increase dialogue about climate action, like my 10-year-old daughter and where she wants to go, we need to engage K through 12. How can we do that? Part of it is bringing architects into the classroom with some training so that they understand how to speak to kids, normalizing the conversation about what architects do, and also engaging in terms of community input of, frankly, asking kids how they can change and get them in the mindset that they too can change the environment through their actions. And one of the ways to do that is through architecture.
Super. About 20 seconds. You have anything you'd like to share with us to close us out?
I'm very excited to run for president. I think that this organization does such good, and I am humbled and honored to have the chance to be a part of that. So thank you. And if not, I'll send my daughter and she can run.
Super. All right. Thanks, Emily. You have a great day.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. And I meant every word at the end of this video. I'm truly humbled by going through this process to run for AIA 2023 President-elect and hope to serve as best as I can. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me either through social media channels, my website, or you can reach me directly by email at egr@egrfaia.com. Take care.